Hello, everyone, and welcome to a Thursday edition of the Orange and Brown Talk podcast. Dan Labbe with Mary Kay Cabot and Ashley Bastock. We just heard from Elijah Moore a little bit earlier today, the Browns' newest addition at wide receiver. What we're going to do here on a Thursday is throw out some questions for each other. So we're each going to come up with one question. If we have something else, maybe we'll get into those a little bit later in the pod, depending how we're doing on time. But let's get right to it, Mary Kay. What question do you have for us?
You know, the question that is on my mind today, just because as we're taping this on Thursday, we recently had a video call with Elijah Moore. So in listening to him talk and hearing him discuss what he thinks his role will be, it makes me wonder what is going to happen to Browns 2022 third round pick David Bell. What role is David Bell going to have? Of course, he was a slot receiver last year. Now, we know that Elijah Moore can play outside. He can play inside. So in three wides, I mean, it looks to me like, you know, you probably are going to want to have Amari Cooper, Donovan Peoples-Jones, and Elijah Moore on the field. You know, I don't know. Are you going to trade for a guy like this, a former, second round pick with some really, really good production, and then not play him? I think he's going to be on the field. So it just makes me wonder, what does that mean for one David Bell?
Okay, so David Bell's numbers last year: 35 targets, 24 catches, 214 yards, did not score a touchdown. So his rookie season, he played in 16 games and started 3 games. Ashley, I mean, just to piggyback on what Mary Kay just said, not only do you not trade for this guy to not play him, but you don't give up a second round pick either. I mean, that's a valuable pick, and you were going to pick a valuable player there. So, and honestly, that's the most valuable pick they have until they start getting back into first round picks. So they did give up something substantial to get Elijah Moore. So yeah, he's going to play. And I think it's not just David Bell, but there's other guys too that this affects, but Bell was kind of the guy that a lot of people looked at and said, well, maybe he's your slot receiver.
Yeah, I mean, it's just hard for me right now to imagine that he's going to be able to have like the same kind of role that he had, David Bell, because of Elijah Moore comes here and his biggest asset is what David Bell doesn't have, and it's his speed. And we heard from him today that, he really values his route running. I know and we've talked about this with him, like some off the field questions about him, some discipline questions, but hearing him talk today, it was really interesting how much he wanted to hone in on the route running, which of course it helps when you have a teammate like Amari Cooper to help you refine those things. So I think as long as there's no issues there, he's a really good route runner. He can have that versatility. He has that speed, and the ball can only go around to so many guys. So I don't think it doesn't mean like David Bell's not going to play at all. I mean, you see Kevin Stefanski want to get different looks, and you saw them, even go to Anthony Schwartz last year, for example, on certain packages, right? But I do wonder, my hunch right now feels like there's just not going to be as many snaps available for David Bell with this guy now on the roster.
And I'm looking to David Bell last year played, for some reason I scrolled up on the page here, but last year he only played 29% of the team's special team snaps. So at least last year he was not a guy that played on special teams. Now maybe that changes with Bubba Ventrone in the fold, but he might have to get that part of his game figured out too. I mean, he's not going to get cut. He's not going to get waived, but what is it? I mean, there are other guys that this could affect too, Mary Kay, like a guy like Anthony Schwartz. Does this maybe signal the end for him, or does he still have a chance?
Well, I think that Anthony Schwartz is someone that's going to have to come in here during the offseason program and during training camp and prove that he deserves a roster spot. He still does have that thing that you cannot coach and you cannot buy, and that is that speed. So if he can add in everything else that he needs to add in with his game and really show them something, then he probably does have a chance. If not, then, maybe he goes to the practice squad, or maybe they do give up on him. But he's got a lot to prove. He's got to show that he can handle the game emotionally, mentally, and physically. I think he needs to get stronger. I think he needs to get tougher. That is one player that it could also impact. It could impact a guy like Michael Woods, who I thought was poised to get some more playing time moving forward here. Now everybody kind of moves back a rung. And then there's another factor here too. And that